Chris, it didn't take long for that new double objectionable conduct rule to result in a ejection from the game. What did you think about that? I mean, does that add to the game?
You know what? I mean, it's it's just something that you have to get used to, And as players, I mean, you got to show a little bit of constraint. You got to have some discipline, and we had one, And again, we've got to, as players and coaches, we got to keep ourselves under control, And the discipline aspect plays a factor.
Chris, what happened with Jake Seresna last week? Was he just a last-minute decision on the roster?
Yeah, he's dealing with a shoulder situation, and so I really am at a little bit of a loss. So, but he's dealing with a shoulder situation.
Notice Colin Kelly hasn't been out. Is that what prompted the return of Renfro to the fold here?
Well, again, we'll see. I mean, we've got. Ivy, we've added Ivy to what we're doing to the equation, and so again, we're just trying to find the best mix and match of players that we can put on the roster.
Not that you want to have to rely on some guy to put up 150 receiving yards each game, but is it nice to know Lawler is up to that task if he's called?
Well, he's an awful good player. I mean, he when he was available in free agency, we targeted him as a guy that we wanted to go get, and he's a guy that certainly over the first 2 weeks has performed at a very high level, and if we can maintain that and other guys can maybe match getting toward his level, then all of a sudden we'll be playing pretty good.
Nice to have Walker back. I mean, that's probably developing into a pretty good 1-2 punch.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's yet to be seen because he was out last week, so we've got to, we didn't play very good anywhere week 1, and then last week D-Walt was out. So, again, we're certainly hoping that these guys can stay healthy because, again, teams that stay healthy and stay on the field are usually the teams that have a lot of consistency and have success.
Chris, I got to ask you about Shai Ross. I mean, it's not every day you release a guy from the roster who has 2.5 million social media views like he has. People kind of notice something like that.
Yeah, I mean, Shai's a really good athlete. Again, we were going to move him to the practice roster. He chose not to, and so unfortunately there wasn't a spot for us to keep him.
Chris, give me a take on Calgary. They're 2-0, but 2 field goals away from being 0-2. What's your take on how they played and what you're facing?
They know how to win. They're well coached. They know how to win. They've been there a long time. They knew how to win under Huff. They know how to win under Dave. They've got an awful good staff. They're good in all 3 phases. They don't panic when they're down, as evidenced last weekend. And again, they're a tough football team. So we've certainly got our hands full this week.
Because it seems like the way practice is working, guys, based on merit, can work their way into the lineup for a game. Is that the idea?
We're trying to make things as competitive, and especially day 2 is the day. Day 1's learning, day 2's competition, day 3 is polish. I mean, that's pretty much our philosophy, and we want to try to get to the game. We're going to work out every day, and then try to get to the game as fresh as we possibly can. So we try to take care of them on day 4. And again, that's kind of our goal, and we want to make things as competitive as possible.
So a guy who plays his way through practice onto the roster, I mean, in the game, I mean, you better still be able to put out there, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's like I say, it's day 2's a day where I guess we got about 75 plays today. So if you divide that by 2, you played about a half of real football plus your special teams responsibilities. So that's kind of what we look at doing on day 2.
Mentioned special teams. Comment on Mengel in the game he had. He can hit the football.
Yeah, he can hit it. He can hit it, and he did some good things the other night. He punted the ball pretty well, with the exception of the first one. And it still was over 4-3, I think it was. So he's a talent, and that's why he's on the roster.
Gets it up there too. Like, those some high.
Absolutely, yeah.
Sorry if you were asked yesterday, but just getting kind of booted out of your regular field over there.
Yeah, we're used to it, though. I mean, the same thing happened here, back when I was here before in 14-15. I can't remember, what group it was came through here, but it's something. The good thing about it is it's good practice for the Grey Cup, because that's when you're practicing somewhere different for the Grey Cup. You're never, your schedule's all screwed up, and the place where you're practicing and dressing is usually screwed up. So, so it is good practice for the Grey Cup.
It was the FIFA Women's Tournament. I seem to remember that year ended.
Is that what it was?
Pretty well too,
yeah.
AC/DC too.
Yeah.
Was it AC/DC?
I've got a good memory. It's just short. I can't ever remember from you. Same thing.
Garth Brooks this time? Are you a Garth Brooks fan?
Yeah, I know who he is.
Yeah.
You know,
Not on your iPod though.
he's not on my iPod.
Thanks, Chris.
All right,
good
see ya.
stuff. Thanks, Chris.